I guess it goes back to 2004, and we lived in the States for a few years, my wife and I. Owen was 3 years when we moved back and picked up a few challenges with him on the speech side and some fine motor in terms of his printing and things, and it concerned us. We started to look around Toronto for some alternatives. And Heather, my sister, had come back from California at the same time. She'd been in pediatric OT down there.
And I said, I think we could do something, but I think he needs a team of therapists around him. And that was the vision, and it sort of started from there.
And that's really where it all started, was the idea of filling that need. And we couldn't find anywhere in the rule book that we couldn't do it, so we gave it a shot.
3, 2, 1.
So we may have around 70 therapists, but we have a team that supports the therapists, that allows us to focus on our kids.
That's probably the best part of the job, when you get a chance to meet with parents and get their firsthand input. And yeah, we make a big difference in a lot of people's lives. That's true, and I think that's what makes it. That's the best part of it, to be honest. Yeah.
All right, what do we put in next?
Fish.
Oh, put in fish. Tell me.
In a pocket.
Oh, put it in the pot.
In a pot.
Nice job.
For me, it's just getting the results, right? So if I had a goal and we met that goal, that gives me a rush. And if they supersede that goal, well then I'm on cloud 9.
I have a 7-month-old who's was on a NG tube for feeding from birth, and then they removed that after 6 months, and then he wasn't bottle feeding properly. And after weeks of therapy, he started straw drinking, and he started eating as well, and we're slowly increasing his nutritional intake.
I guess my philosophy is I try to connect and follow the child. So when they come in, what do they migrate towards? Do they go over and tap the drum? Do they go to the piano? Do they start to vocalize or sing? And then I have a way in with the child to see what they're interested in. So I for the most part, follow. I follow it's called client-led therapy, or child-directed therapy, and that's what I'm trying to do. And from that point, we can build a relationship.
For example, if a child is feeling frustrated, they may not be able to express that through language, but maybe give them a drum and they can play the beat of their frustration, so they can play those loud bangs, and that's how I'm feeling angry and loud. They can express that through the music.
For the children that don't have the verbal skills, you're replicating that dialogue, and they get to try it on, if you will. So they give a sound, I give a sound back. They maybe tap a little rhythm, I can give that back. And maybe I change it a bit, I shift it. So we're getting that call and response, and as I said, we're modeling in a way, but we're still both interacting in a dialogue. And then that's where that relationship comes in, and then the trust to come along with me, and let's see if we can try something else out.
And he always says, I think that the kids know that we're trying to help them. It's really tough sometimes, and we're really pushing them at a quite high level, really getting the maximum response from their brain that's possible at every moment. So the sessions are very difficult. But then I think that they know that we're there to help them, and oftentimes I get big hugs and smiles at the end. So I always joke that they cry on the way in and I cry when they're on their way out.
And just recently, in the last couple of months, this summer, we actually moved the location to the current site that we're at now, which gives us twice as much floor space for treatment. It allows us to expand the team. So we now have some therapists on the team that have joined us since we moved. It also allows us to treat more children at one time. So we're now able to offer more weekend, more evening appointments for families to be able to make use of. So we have a very strong feeding team here that is a specialty built from occupational therapy and speech and language therapy, and that's the oral placement therapy that focuses specifically on feeding and speech. And then we have occupational therapy, where we've got the extended large gym that we now have here. We've got behaviour therapy, and in addition to the one-on-one typical ABA programs, we also offer the Bridge program, which is again a new incentive that we've been able to really put some energy behind now that we have a new site, because we have a dedicated space, which happens to be the space that we're sat in right now.
I think what maybe sets Blue Balloon apart is that it is very integrated. So some places we're working in parallel, but we're not necessarily working on the same case at the same time. Or if we are, we're still very much working on our own goals. And we recognize that another therapist that works in a different discipline is working on theirs. Here, I would say it is quite unique in that we may be working on our own goals, but we also know the goals of another therapist or another discipline. And so we're integrating that into our own sessions as well. So that type of model, I feel, is relatively new.
I'm also the handler for our therapy dog, Chili. And so he has a lot of different specialties he's able to offer. He's very much a meet and greet when a child comes into the clinic. He works with some of our perhaps more anxious young children who feel that coming to a clinic is maybe a little clinical in its sense. And he's really that warm, friendly, third-party presence that really takes the anxiety away. Equally, he works with children who are afraid of dogs. So, yep, he's a therapist in his own right, really.
Approach and Kearns is very similar, so that's
one child that Kim had worked with since he was young said his first words with her touched my heart, because you're not only changing that child's life and ability to communicate with peers or with the world, but you're changing a family's life. So for me to now be able to carry on that therapy and get him to use more words, sentences, different forms of interaction with the people around him is it's a gift.
They were always able to help us, and it's a really nice, safe place, unconditional. You know that you have a safe place to take your child, and that you've got terrific supports, and that's really important. And now, with having everything in one place, it makes it a huge relief for parents, because now they don't have to, you're not dealing with professionals separately, and that's a huge weight off your shoulders. It's been incredible for us.
I refer parents to Blue Balloon all the time in the work that I do with the Halton Down Syndrome Association, because they do believe in the kids. They will never stop trying to help the kids, no matter what the challenge is.
I think we'd like to see our footprint grow. We'd like to be able to reach more families. I think there's also some additional disciplines, some neat therapy techniques we can continue to expand into, and then just keep refining the model. The interdisciplinary model is complicated. It's easy to say, hard to do. And so we'll continue to work on that and improve that, try to make our services as the best that they can be. So.
We can start with one service, and quickly, if a child's changes, which they do, the program can evolve and change with them. It's not static. All of the programs, yes, have measurable goals and expectations with them, but if the child then starts to evolve and let's say need more of physiotherapy, we can quickly make that shift and make that change and shift the program to meet their needs.
It's a roller coaster ride. It's been a roller coaster ride, but we love what we do. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and we're pretty proud of what we built. Yeah. Actually, I met Kim through a friend of my wife's, just socially at first, and really loved what she was doing down with Express Yourself in Burlington. And I said, I just can't believe she was able to do professionally what she did while she was going through her battle with cancer, and then taking on the Ironman. The Ironman alone, it's just crazy. And a lot of people didn't know that saw that part of her life, what she was doing back at her clinics and growing her team and impacting that many families. Yeah, we definitely miss her terribly, and she was a huge factor in our growth. And yeah, I was really privileged to have the chance to work with her.